Well, I had this whole script planned for going into the Me Too movement, and I was going to weave a tale of the black militias in the 1950s and 60s, talk about the evolution of gang culture, some throwaway historical text to Baybars and the Crusades, but recent events have just left me angry. So, sorry to my 3 Andromeda fans, I teased you, but you'll have to wait for the money shot. So I'm going to cut that long-ass narrative down. We're going to just talk about call-out culture in general, which I'm choosing to call COC. COC has gotten pretty big over the last couple years. Not just the Me Too movement, but other similar momentum has been building recently. Rather than an in-depth explorative, this is just a video on my general philosophy and concerns as someone who generally considers themselves on the political right in my heart. I'm presently allied with the left in the West, in this broad Antifa alliance we all share, but at the end of the day, I am on the right side of the center. For example, I think strong states are generally good things in principle. And I will also say I think the Me Too movement is a good thing. I'll also say that I think it isn't a bad thing that we're more critical of behavior that, while not directly harming someone, does contribute to the negative stereotypes and infer their complicity in those discriminating systems. So if you're taking these concerns as me saying Me Too is bad and should be ended tomorrow, this is me preemptively calling you out for not watching the video. So why am I mad at COC? Well, that's an easy answer, but if you followed the recent happenings on in regards to 2 lovely people, Angie Speaks and Peter Coffin, you'll know why I get pissed enough to make this video. I'm linking to a live stream in Non-Compete's channel in the description that gives you a decent explanation of the affair. To be short, in particular against Angie Speaks, there's been harassment, doxing, and hacking. No idea why these assholes couldn't use these skills against, Sargon or Dankula. Shitty priorities you guys have there. I'll just briefly say here, there is a difference between the original accusations and the crimes that were committed against Angie Speaks. These are 2 separate crimes. The one does not justify the other. That's all I'll say on that. So, why has COC become such dick over this? Well, like I said originally, I wanted to do a weaving narrative about black militias as a proto-example of what happens when a group of people, marginalized from power, feel the need to go to extra-legal lengths to find justice for themselves when the system has so nakedly failed them. That's what call-out culture is today, at least at root. Me Too is a campaign that exists because there are no ways to deal with the behavior of certain men who can't keep their fucking hands to themselves. The victims have, in many cases, been turned away by law enforcement and thus must resort to other means to get their justice. In our society today, the best way to get that justice is through capitalism. That's where most of the social power is held, so it's where you can derive the greatest chance of success. And whether or not you agree with Me Too or the other extra-legal movements like Black Lives Matter or call-out culture in general, if people are getting their justice from extra-legal sources, they will then give their loyalty to those extra-legal entities. And that should concern everyone, not just those who oppose to COC, but those inside it. Our institutions need to be strong. If you are against the whole Me Too movement, you should be the person most in favor of expanding laws regarding sexual assault, because if people feel the law is, at the very least, giving them a fair shake, then there will be less pressure to attack people over their jobs. There will be less incentive to harass and bully, because there will be legitimate channels that you can reasonably go through, and to be certain that you will be given a fair hearing, even if not a conviction. Again, I think Me Too is a good thing. But as more time goes on, you run bigger and bigger risks of purity tests becoming rampant. You run bigger and bigger risks that people will misinterpret believe victims to do not question victims. And there is a difference, yes, between those statements. As for the purity tests of COC in general, I'm mostly shocked when I see young people doing this. If you're under 35, you've never known a world where you had the right to be forgotten. Not just in the digital space, but in the physical sense as well. We can't just pack up and move to California and take a job as a janitor somewhere and start over under an assumed name. We aren't allowed to do that. Your social security number has to follow you these days. Your credit score sticks to you like a raccoon on nuts. It is near impossible to vanish, not unless you try really hard. So we have to be more understanding that some people will make mistakes and that we can't surround ourselves with a pure social network, because we will always have access to everything each other has done with their lives. We're gonna have to get used to people having different standards than ourselves, and our lives will be lonely, sad, and short if we can't. And just remember, COC, you can't push into spaces that you don't own. Angie and Peter said it perfectly. People were demanding they become an authority, but they aren't. Me Too has no legitimacy, and COC does not have any authority. It is a mob, and by its nature, its only measure of power is the loudness of the voices shouting. COC should not be anyone's final solution to the problem of sexual assault. We need better than that. We all deserve better than that. And while it would be lovely if we could have a sort of call-out institution, that institution really should be the justice system, because I have racked my brain on a way to make a largely digital community where we can have accountability, and I am not seeing any fair and unbiased way it happens. I'm not saying you have to agree with Peter Coffin. Your conclusion is allowed to be different, but you need to keep those disagreements in the public space. As I said, COC went to capitalism because in our neoliberal society, capitalism is where most of the power is concentrated, and is indisputably the majority of the extra-legal power. But we have only adopted that framework because the system, such as it is, was not leading to justice. And as such, we must be very careful to police ourselves and our communities to ensure that all our ends serve justice. The lines on keeping COC in the public space must, by necessity, be extra thick. Harassing private Facebooks, hacking personal messengers, that's vigilantism, and you're not Batman. Okay, recording my sign out now. I forgot I had laundry going on, so I ran out and in. I do expect to do the recording for the Andromeda video this weekend. This only took me an evening, so it'll probably be a day late. I just got really angry, but I did want to say more than shout obscenities at hackers. Alright, this is starting to ramble on, so I will see you guys at the next video. Bye.